Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thanks for joining me today. Now, Technique Tuesday, we're going to be looking at Brusho powders, and they're one of those products that a few of you have asked me about. So here they are in their little potluck, and I'll give you an idea. This is the sort of thing we're going to create. And I want to show you it's a lovely, simple, easy technique. Honestly, we're not doing anything, and I'm just going to give you a few hints and tips to make it look. I mean, I think that's lovely, don't you? But honestly, won't take us long at all. Few little things we need. The first thing is watercolour card. And this is the most beautiful Lavinia watercolour card. It's hot pressed, and what that means is it's lovely and smooth, so when we're stamping on it, it's nice to stamp on, but it will take lots and lots of water. So that's what we're going to use, watercolour card. Then we're going to come in a couple of colours of Brushos. Now Brushos are just, in my head I think of pigment powder, lots of colour, so it's powder that packs a punch. We're going to use leaf green and rose red. Just two. We don't want too many colours, otherwise it'll just go to brown, look like mud. Now, Brushos, pop a pin in the lid, because if you do, then it's easy to sprinkle them out and you won't knock your pot over. And if you're like me, you have to have the colour of the pin to match the colour of the Brusho, but I think that's just me. Now you'll notice I've got one of these craft mats over my lovely Lavinia mat, and that's purely because I don't want to get Brusho powder. Because it's highly pigmented, strong colour, I don't want to get it on my lovely Lavinia mat. Now what I am going to use today is I've got my Nocturne black ink pad, but also our secret weapon today is this fabulous Wow embossing powder. And this is the clear matte, and it's dull. But what we're going to do is emboss the image first. Now, we're not going to make our background first, we're going to stamp first. And this is a little trick that for me makes this technique just, well, I don't like to say the word easy but it makes it really doable. And the first stamp I'm going to use is this beautiful one, Seeing is Believing. And she's just gorgeous. Look, I've had her a while and not used her for ages. And I'm trying to do that thing about looking at stamps I haven't used for a while. What about you? Do you have ones? I've got a few favourites at the minute, and I'm trying to share the Lavinia love around and not use the same ones. Now, she's a silhouette, so she needs a good inking. So while I stamp her, how are you doing? How are things going? I hope you're okay and you're having a decent week. Monday can be so hectic, can't it? Before you know it's Tuesday, then we get to Wednesday, that day in the middle, bump day. Before you know it, Thursday, Friday, then at least we have the weekend again. Now, I'm putting a little bit more oomph on. As I say, it is a smooth watercolour card, but I do want this ink to soak in. Now, she's a silhouette, so lift up, and I'm going to put my embossing powder straight on. Now, I could have stamped everything, it's up to you, but I would rather just put my embossing powder on our lovely fairy, just gently. And I'll pop this back in there, back in the pot. And then I'm going to put the embossing powder on my flowers separately. It's up to you. VersaFine Clay is a slower drying ink, so you could stamp them all. But I just prefer to do it this way. So I'll come in now with a couple of the lovely Wild Summer flower stamps, and I just want a couple of these. To be honest, I was spoilt for choice at this point because we've got so many lovely dandelion stamps, haven't we? I did wonder whether to do those. And we'll just have a couple of these and then just one more up here. And that one, I think, just on the edge there. And then I'm going to come in with a couple. This is the leaf spray, and it's very useful at the bottom, just a bit like when we use the field grass. And I'll just pop the embossing powder on those now. And this embossing powder, I like to do it this way because it almost acts a little bit of sort of a resist for when I add the Brusho. And I find everything just stands out a little bit more. So it is worth doing. And I'll just pop all that back in there. And a little tip, there always seems to be more embossing powder going back in than you've had out. So just give it a little gentle tap and it'll go flat, and you'll find you can get all that embossing powder back in. I'll just get rid of that. Little shake so it flattens it. Lid straight on. Best tip I can give you. Otherwise, you know what's going to happen. Now I'll file that on the... Oh, I just want to stamp this sentiment. But what I'll do, I'll heat this first. Now, heat tool, I'm using my embossing heat tool. I'm going to put it on full, so it will be a bit noisy, but I'm just going to give it a minute to heat up, and then I'll move across and emboss. So I do apologise for the noise, but I'm just going to start in the corner. And you'll be able to see when it's embossed, look. Hopefully you'll be able to see as it goes. I'm trying to angle it as it goes darker. It really sort of springs to life when it's being embossed. And if you're not sure if it's all embossed, give it a little bit of a wiggle look and you'll be able to see it in the light. Now I've just realised I've not put my sentiment stamp. Sorry, so I just had to, I filed my stamps on the floor. So I had to just lean over Eric, so I do apologise. And I'm going to put this lovely sentiment on, Don't Forget to Fly. And I'm doing all my stamping first. So I'm going to stand up just so I can get this straight. And let's just pop it there. Lovely. And we'll give that a blot. Because I don't want to use my heat tool to heat it, because obviously I've done my embossing. So I don't want to overheat it. You don't overheat your embossing. So, next bit. And I just find, maybe you're not used to embossing the image, but I find it works better with my Brusho powders. So in with my powders, and I'm going to put some leaf green at the base and just tap, and we'll have some around here and over her wings, I think. Pin back in, and then I'm coming with the rose red, and I think where my flowers are, I'm going to just go, again, a little tap. You can always add some more later, you don't want to overdo it. And then kitchen towel at the ready, and I've also got my little puffer here, my air blower, and my water. So from a distance, I'm just going to spritz and see what we get. Now, two things. I can actually move with the puffer. Now, we quite often use this for alcohol inks, but I find it fabulous for this technique. If I find it's too watery, look, I just dab it with my kitchen towel. And that way I'm in control and I can almost guide the pattern, look. Now I love this bit here, so I don't want to alter that. There's a little puddle there that's a bit muddy for me, so I'll just clean that up. And I have to say, I love that. Maybe just a bit more wispy up here. So I'll just add a few more wispy bits up at the top. Oh, don't tell anyone, look, we've got a dog hair. That's Eric. Eric. It's autumn, he sees, molting. He's getting his winter coat. Mind you, I think with energy prices, I think we're all going to be wishing we had winter coats, aren't we? Right, let's just move it away from... Now, the beauty of this, look, because we used our embossing powder, it's a resist, so it will actually dry and won't stick to where our lovely fairy is. I love that up there, and I love that. I'm just going to dry that bit. So if I wanted, I could add some more Brusho, but to be honest, I don't want to. I like that as it is. So I'm just going to mop this up, just so that you can see. And you know, when I said it was one of those lovely techniques, look at that. Now, if you were batch card making, you think you could stamp a design even Christmas? Or what about stamping a few of these and maybe leave the sentiment off so they were there for emergency cards? I'm just going to move my puffer out of the way. Bring in my finished one, look. And the beauty of this, no two will ever be the same. Now, when it's dry here, I could come in and put my moon mask if I wanted and add a little bit of ink on top. I could add some stickles, some glitter. But I've got to be honest, I think it's fabulous as it is. And you know what? That's it. If you wanted, highlight with gel pen. But you know what? I think it looks so effective, and we have got so many lovely stamps that this technique will work well with. So I hope you have a go at that. And if you're one of those ladies that have messaged me to say you've bought the Brushos but you think they're very messy, you know, you're scared of having a go with them, I really would encourage you to have a go at this technique, because it's so controllable. And as I say, if it's too watery, mop it up with your kitchen towel. If you want more colour, add more Brusho. Think of all the different colours you could use, the different mixes you could do, the different stamps. Honestly, I can't wait to see what you do. You're such a clever lot, you. And again, share your makes. Let's encourage each other. So that's it from me for today. It's been lovely spending time with you. I will see you again soon. You take care and have fun. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.